Has the battle between President Trump and Fed President Powell begun? Frankly, has it ever stopped? I think what we are going to see over the next several weeks, if not months, is more pressure on the Fed. Just yesterday, after the Fed rate decision to continue the pause, Trump says the Fed should cut rates to ease the economy's transition to his tariff plan, or his tariff execution. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Fed Day. We're also going to talk about a housing number that just came out in the last 60 seconds. And boy, was I wrong. I expected existing home sales for the month of February to annualize to sub 4 million. In fact, the experts predicted 3.95 million. So I should have known if all the experts are saying the same thing, that we were going to be offsides. And I don't have any of the details because literally came out the last 60 seconds. But the headline is estimates 3.95, actuals, get this, 4.26. That is up from the month before. It was expected to go down about 4.5%, actually went up 4%. Pretty wild. Again, I'm just going to X or Twitter to see if there's any more updates on this. But yes, folks, I was wrong. 4.26, last 4.09, expected 3.95. What does this mean? What does this mean? Does this mean that the economy is not as bad as we think? Does this mean that the consumer who is acting like they're scared or nervous are not pulling back? Maybe they're saying one thing and doing another. I would have lost a lot of money today because I would have taken, if you gave me 4 million as the over under, I would have pushed a lot of chips in and took the under. And not only did it come in above 4 million, it came in above last month. What? Crazy. So I don't know. It's definitely something I will dig into some more. But I just want to let you know that existing home sales, maybe the consumer is okay. I don't know. 4.26 is a lot better than 4 million. Well, let's get into the Fed Day. Let's talk about what the Fed said. We'll also relate it to President Trump as well. But when I look at first off, obviously the rate decision was a layup, right? They paused, no rate hike, no rate cut. But it was all about the dot plot. And I don't think any Fed president said this yet, but if you look at what actually happened, and we'll go through the details here in a minute, you have to think stagflation. You just have to. Again, what is stagflation? It's below trend growth and rising inflation. It doesn't have to be negative growth. It's just below trend or slow growth. It can technically be positive, right? Think growth less than 1% in an inflationary environment at 3.5%, for example. That would be stagflation. So what happened? So we'll just go through kind of bullet point by bullet point, and then I'll go over some quotes. We got a lot of stuff this morning. It was hard to get this down to only 2 pages. First, rates were unchanged. Second, the Fed president said uncertainty around the economy has increased. I think that's more than fair to say. I was surprised and yet wrong again. I thought the dot plot would highlight 1 rate cut in 2025. That did not happen. They stayed put with their 2 rate cuts in 2025. So again, and something I was wrong about. They did slow their balance sheet runoff, which, is what it is. They reduced GDP for 2025, and they raised inflation, PCE inflation. And they raised the unemployment rate, right? Unemployment rate expectation. So lower growth, higher inflation, more unemployment. Seems stagflation-y to me. I think we might see in the next 90 days to 180 days, what's the Fed going to do? again, we don't know what's coming with these tariffs. We don't know what's coming with unemployment, but let's just play a game together. Let's say the Fed in June is left in an environment where inflation is rising and unemployment is rising and GDP is shrinking. And as we've said for a while, stagflation is the boogeyman because the Fed's tools cannot fight a weakening economy and rising inflation. It's not built that way. Stagflation is the boogeyman. The Fed would want a recession 100% of the time over stagflation. And given the most recent dot plot, which was released yesterday, the Fed won't say this. I don't expect any of the Fed presidents to say it. It's kind of like Beetlejuice. You don't want to say the name, but the odds of stagflation are up. No question at all. Jerome Powell had some interesting things to say, things that I wrote down. We now have the word transitory back. Woo, transitory. I got to tell you, I would have again been wrong. I would have guessed Powell never uttered the word transitory again. I mean, if you were to write a book about Powell, a big part of it, that one of the chapters is going to be his gigantic mistake calling inflation transitory. And whoops, he did it again. For his sake, I hope he's right, because if not, it's going to be a terrible bookend to his story. So again, he says tariff inflation is transitory. I still can't believe he used that word. The economy is strong. Inflation remains somewhat elevated. Tariff-driven inflation expectations higher. So again, he's being very clear. He's saying that the noise around tariffs is raising consumer expectations for inflation. He's basically trying to explain away all the large rise in inflation expectations 1 year, 3 years, and 5 years. He's trying to neuter or reduce the noise around that. He also said the Fed is not in a hurry. However, he also said if labor weakens, the Fed can cut. If economy remains strong, policy restraints remain. Powell, tariffs lend to bringing growth down and inflation up. This is where we start to get Powell and Trump. Again, Trump said yesterday, as I led off, says the Fed should cut rates to ease the economy transition to his tariffs. Powell says tariffs tend to bring growth down and inflation up. Now, that's just the beginning. I suspect a lot more to and fro around that. But yes, pretty interesting. One of the things I want to stop here doing, because I thought yesterday was pretty interesting. In the same video, some of you called me a Trump. Let's say, which one do I want to do first? You called me a Trump MAGA idiot. So some of you think that I am a mega red hat wearing through and through, blah, blah, blah. And you called me that yesterday. In the same video, many of you also said, why do you have Trump TDS? Why are you a liberal? What did you say? I actually wrote it down. Why are you a liberal idiot with TDS? All I got to tell you is if I'm getting that kind of reaction in the same video, I think I'm doing something right. I think it is wild that I could be called both extremes in the same video. And again, I don't take either of those personal. It's really easy for me to block idiots. I've gotten very comfortable with it. But it means that I'm doing something right. President Trump, whether you like it or not, is the president of the United States. He is. So we have to talk about it. We have to interact. We have to do these things. Now, if you come into this situation loving or hating, that's on you. Doesn't bother me one bit. But I did think it was comical, and I actually felt pretty good. I was like, good, we're doing something right. So I thought that was I thought that was crazy. And again, if you're going to get all nasty in your comments, don't bother. I'll just hit the block button and I'll never see you again. So do what you want to do. Bank of America CEO says economic growth is better than people think, and the Fed should stay on hold. We've actually heard from Bank of America a couple of times in the last couple of weeks. They are the first big bank to kind of mirror my prediction of zero cuts in 2025. Bank of America is still there. They made that forecast in January, and they're sticking to it thus far. Folks, I want to give huge credit to Rick Palacios Jr. He works at John Burns Real Estate Consulting. He put out an excellent tweet yesterday. I think we still call them tweets. We call them tweets, right? Screw it. I'm going to call it a tweet. He has this amazing idea about what might happen with the tie-up of Redfin and Rocket Mortgage. Now, I'm going to explain his idea with an example first. So, if you've been following the new home market for the last 2 or 3 years, you know with certainty one of the levers builders are pulling is rate buydowns. They are baking rate buydowns into the price. For example, the property that Olivia and I bought most recently, when rates were 7.5 or 8, we got a 4.99 30-year fix. That was just baked into the deal. Rick Palacios Jr. says, wouldn't it be easy or interesting for a Redfin and Rocket Mortgage to do the same kind of thing for existing home sales? Now think about that. You work with Redfin or Rocket Mortgage, you're getting a listing presentation, and your Redfin agent, I guess that's what they're called or whatever, comes in and says, hey, I can list your house at X. It's a little bit higher. It's a little bit higher than the market maybe. But what we're going to do is we're going to give the buyer, the would-be buyer, a 4.5% mortgage. Now, again, I don't know the details. I don't know the legality. I don't know the this and the that of any of that. I just thought it was a really interesting idea because, again, you now have the mortgage business and the listing business. And if they are one entity, that gives them the ability to do some pretty cool things. And again, full credit, 100% credit, all transparency. The first person I saw talk about this, and near as I can tell, the only person talking about it is Rick Palacios Jr., a John Burns Real Estate Consulting analyst. I actually don't know what his title is, but there you go. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I want to shout out Steadily Insurance. Steadily Insurance is somebody who comes on the channel several times a month. They also are a member of my school community. But Steadily Insurance helped one of my school members who got a recent quote for $18,800 for his 14 properties, which was a dramatic increase over last year. After working with Steadily Insurance for, I guess, probably several weeks, Steadily Insurance came back with a quote of $10,800. So, folks, that is an $8,000 savings. Now, it doesn't work. Lots of you out there have reached out to Steadily and said, hey, can you help me? And the quote came back higher. That's okay. You can't win every game. But it does look like Steadily Insurance, given on the communications I see in my community, is increasingly being the cheaper option. A lot of insurance companies are raising rates. Steadily Insurance is increasingly coming through. One of the things, they have a link or whatever for ORAT folks. I'll put it in the show notes. But yes, Steadily Insurance is coming through. Something I want to do Sunday morning. I haven't done this in a while. I was a little focused on my event, then obviously off to Asia for 3 weeks, is I'm going to do a live stream in my school community where you can come ask me any and all questions. We will go live Sunday morning at 8 a.m. I will put the Zoom link in right after this is over. But I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to talk with you again. We can talk about anything you want. We can talk real estate, economy, travel, family. I am down to talk anything you want. You do have to be a school member. It will be on the calendar, 8 a.m. Pacific. I look forward to seeing you there. So again, join. What else? We got Darden restaurants. Again, we heard in the retail sales report on Monday that restaurants is down again. Well, Darden restaurants validated that. Sales disappoint. Olive Garden and Longhorn Steakhouse specifically missed expectations. Wells Fargo is out saying 4.2 million existing home sales for 2025. Redfin was 4.1, I think. And I'm below 4 million. But again, as we started off the show, existing home sales for February coming in at 4.26 does not make my forecast look good. We'll see what happens in March. But yeah, that number, that's a big beat. We have to ask maybe why. We got the Philadelphia Manufacturing Index. It was positive, better than expected, but worse than last month. Last month was 18.1, expected to be 9, actually came in at 12.5. So again, manufacturing still growing in the Philadelphia area. Very different than the New York, right? The Empire State manufacturing was ugly. I think it was negative 20. Philadelphia, positive 12. It's Thursday, so we got weekly initial claims. Last month was 221, expected 224, came in at 223. So we are still kind of at that, sideways, no concern yet, no big blow up. Back to President Trump and Jerome Powell battling it out. Again, President Trump just said, hey, Fed cut rates, help me out. As you and I have talked many times, the Fed does not control the 10-year note. However, the 10-year note is down big today. The 10-year note is down under 4.2. Let's see if I can pull it up quickly. I think it was 4.18 last time I checked. Let's see. Usually can do this pretty quickly. Oh, so now it's 4.2. So it's down 5 basis points, which is a decent move for a single day. So again, the 10-year note is down. What does that mean? Does that mean they see an economic slowdown? Maybe. Does that mean that they think DOGE and tariffs will work? Maybe. Don't know. Again, we've already had the Fed lower rates 4 times, right? We had 100 basis points come off and rates are up. But something's happening in the 10-year note for sure. It's coming down. Is it a fear trade? Don't know. What else do we got for you? Nick Timiraos from the Wall Street Journal, often called a Fed insider or a Fed Nicky Leaks, I think Kevin calls him. The bar for rate cuts has gone up as inflation expectations have risen from 2.2 to 2.5 to now 2.8. Think about that, folks. Inflation expectations in the last 90 days have gone from 2.2 to 2.8. Now, again, Jerome Powell is saying, guys, don't worry about it. Inflation expectations don't matter. Inflation's it's transitory. I can't believe he said transitory. Oh, I think that is so funny. He should have had a different word ready, but he didn't. Anything else I want to talk about? No, I think that's it. Again, folks, if you are part of the school community, I will put in a Zoom link right away to talk with you Sunday morning, 8 a.m. Pacific. I hope to see you there. If you want to be there and you're not a part of school, 67 pennies a day gets you in. I'd love to talk to you. Have fun. Take care. Later.